Welcome to Midnight Linux. Today we're going to be learning how to make a Linux bootable media. So you're going to have to get a USB drive, minimum of 8 gigs. Normally the drives today are like 32 gigs anyway, but minimum 8 gigs. I'm using one of my old Kingstons, and what you want to do is, once you have decided that you're going to try Linux, you want to pick a distribution. The most popular ones these days is Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Catchy OS, MX Linux. So once you pick one and you want to give it a shot, all you need to do is go to their website and download their ISO. So in this case, I'm gonna go to Catchy OS. I'm gonna hit. It's right in the front page. Usually, if it's not, you might need to go up here and go to the downloads. But most of the distributions are pretty much on the front page for them. They make it easy to find. I have a desktop, so I'm gonna pick desktop edition for Catchy OS, and it comes with this KDE desktop out of the box. It does give you options when you're doing the setup process on what like desktop you want to use. If you're new, I would say stay with GNOME or KDE or even XFCE. If you're an advanced user, you probably already know what desktop you're going to be using. It could be Hyperland or DWM. So I'm going to get the direct download. And what I like about the Catchy OS is that the Wi-Fi drivers for my computer are like already baked in. Like a lot of times, let's say with Linux Mint or Ubuntu, you might not get your Wi-Fi drivers out of the bootable ISO, the bootable USB. So you need to have a wired connection, Ethernet connection to your router to be able to get those drivers when you're doing the install process. But Catchy OS, I'm super surprised. It just like had everything working out of the box. I could connect to Wi-Fi and the live environment, and then go ahead and install without having to have a Ethernet connection. I just logged into my Wi-Fi and it worked. So this is one example. But I'm gonna be honest. If I'm recommending and then one of these distributions for a new user, I would probably recommend Linux Mint, because it's very polished, even more polished than Ubuntu. Ubuntu is great as well, but Linux Mint is just rock solid and very polished. I've had a Linux Mint computer running in here 24/7, 7 days a week for about 3 years. I've gone through I've updated versions and and it just works, and it never crashes. It's very, very stable. I've edited videos on it. I've played video games on it. It'll do whatever it is that you need it to do, and it's just rock solid. So if you're new, maybe go with Linux Mint. In this case, I'm showing Catchy OS. Catchy, I gotta say, is very beginner friendly. It's just so you're aware, you gotta update Catchy like every week, or every 2 weeks at least, or you might have a problem. And even though you do that, you might still have a problem because it's using Arch, which Arch is a more advanced operating system because it's running all the latest software. So even if it's not software that's been tested very well, they'll just put it on your computer. So then you might crash or have issues. So it doesn't happen often because I've heard they're doing very, very well. And but I think I had a buddy that installed Catchy OS, and he's had it for, I don't know, about a year, but he has had a few issues where one of them he had to totally reinstall his operating system, which is not, something that you want to have to do, so if you're an advanced user and you know how to make backups of your operating system, you know how to do snapshots, and you're good at troubleshooting, it's probably fine for you. But just keep in mind that if you're a new user, probably MX Linux or Linux Mint to me are probably the most easy and polished and reliable of all the distributions. Alright, so I'm gonna let this download and I will see you when it's finished. Okay, it's almost finished. I'm gonna show you how to get Rufus. It's a simple Google search. Here it is, create bootable USB drives. So you click on it, and then right here you would get the standard one for most computers. Here's one for like a Mac because they're on ARM, and this is one for very old computers that don't use the 64-bit architecture. But everybody else should be 99 or 90% of the people are going to be on this first one. So get the Windows 64, and I'm not going to do it because I already have it, but that's how you would get it. And it looks like it just finished, so let me go ahead and pop in a USB, and then go to my downloads. Here's Catchy. So you, like I said, use Rufus. Here's mine. Just click yes on allow, and here you want to select your Catchy OS or whatever other Linux distro that you're gonna be using. So double click, and then you can hit start, and here I recommend you do your DD because it works with Linux ISOs. The regular one sometimes works, but most of the time it doesn't. And okay, you would continue and make sure that there's nothing on this drive that you need, because it's gonna erase it. So it's gonna take a minute to write the information to the USB. And after that, it's a simple reboot, and we will show you how to turn off secure boot. Most of the time you have to turn off secure boot, so we'll show you that real quick. And then yeah, you'll be on Linux. And I prefer Linux. I myself only have this Windows computer because of work. I just like Linux. The speed, like the updates are, I do them whenever I can, and they only take like 2 or 3 minutes. It's really kind of quick. It's not like Windows where it tells you, oh, I have to update, and then when you do the update, it's like an hour. So it's kind of a chore. Linux is so much more simple, and even the installation on Linux, is so much faster. Okay, so we're ready. I'm going to close this out. We have our USB ready. So from here, we are going to reboot. And I'll see you in a moment. And before I forget, one more thing. In the new Windows lately, if you don't disable the Wi-Fi adapter, you might not be able to get Wi-Fi working on your new Linux Mint or Linux CatchOS or any other distribution. I've had this problem before, so the fix is you go to your control panel, and then Network Sharing Center, and if you don't see it, just go over here and you should get this whole list. Once you're in the Network Sharing Center, go to Adapters, and here right click and disable, and now you should be ready to reboot and go into your BIOS and install Linux. Okay, see you on the reboot. Okay, so I'm gonna hit delete. It might be F12, F10, F2. Look it up for your motherboard. It's different for every computer. Mine's delete. So just keep hitting it until you get into the BIOS. And that should get me in. Alright, and then I'm gonna pick my CatchOS. And then the other thing you want to do when you get into your BIOS is, see on the bottom right, it says advanced mode. You want to make sure check the secure boot is off. Mine is off. Mine usually, when I have Windows, it says Windows UEFI. If you put other OS, it will let other OSs install. So since we're going with Linux, we can't have the secure boot on. So just make sure you turn that off so you won't have any problems installing your Linux. So from here, we can go ahead and let it restart with the USB. It should go into the catchy OS in live environment. It should boot into a, it looks like you're on the, like it installed, but it's just a live environment from the desktop, from the USB. Let's see if we load up. Okay, it looks like it's working. You want to pick the first one. It might be different for the different distributions, but usually the first option is the correct one. You might see one if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. You might see one below it where it'll say Linux Mint with NVIDIA, or Catchy OS with NVIDIA. So just be aware that I'm on AMD hardware, so I have everything AMD on this computer, so I don't really need to do anything. So it looks like it's starting up. Yes, and this is a KDE desktop, and from here it's pretty simple. It's from here on out, it's kind of similar on all the different Linux versions. So I'm not gonna do a whole install on this video, because I think a lot of people have done all that on videos before. So I'm gonna leave it on here, and I hope that you found this helpful. And remember to use Clonezilla, which I made a video just a few days ago on how to clone your drive. So if you want to go back to your Windows, if you don't like this, or it's just not for you, you can go back and you'll be back on Windows in no time. It'll only take you, a few minutes, depending on how big your image was that you made on Clonezilla. So look at the Clonezilla video. Make sure you do in an image so you can easily revert back, and that's it. I hope you found this helpful, because I know that it's a little advanced. Maybe some people don't know how to make a bootable drive, and some people might not know the tricks to get Linux up and running. So I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you on the next video.